advocate for coal, Senator Jim Webb from the great state of Virginia.
Good morning. First would like to welcome all of you to your capital. This is your place. We sit here and hold your futures in sacred trust as we carry out our responsibilities. And I think it's good for my colleagues to see all of you today and to see how much you care about the energy future of this country. I'm sure you've heard before I got here the talk about how America is the Saudi Arabia of coal. We have more energy in the ground in coal than Saudi Arabia has in oil. We got the people here who do the hard work of getting that coal out of the ground. There's a great country singer named James Talley. I don't know if any of y'all have heard him. He was Jimmy Carter's favorite singer many years ago. He wrote some great songs about the Appalachian Mountain area, and had one called Black Lung Miner. He talked about going down there in that hole where the earth is as black as a cold winter night. And I salute all of you for having done that during your lifetimes, and for those of you who continue to do it today. We have three challenges right now as we look forward into our nation's energy future and how coal fits into it. We start with the premise that all of you know that more than half of the energy in the United States right now comes from coal. Whatever formula we use in terms of move forward, coal is going to be a part of it. I was trained as an engineer. I got long family roots down in Southwest Virginia. I've been down in the coal mines, not as a career, thank God, but support what you're all doing. But number one, we have the technology available to keep coal clean in a way that will keep it in the marketplace. We have that technology. We got to use it. Number two, we've got a lot of people, including myself, who are concerned about how this administration is moving forward with the EPA, on licensing, on a lot of other areas, and we are not going to let EPA regulate coal out of business. Number three, what that means is, in the short term, we need to get our support behind the Rockefeller Amendment that will put a 2-year hiatus on this policy so that we can get the Congress to do its job and create the standards in which we can protect this industry and still protect our overall energy policies. Stay behind the Rockefeller Amendment. We're going to get it done by the end of this year. The bottom line is you need good jobs. Yeah. You need the kind of way of life where you can protect your family and have a future, and we need coal. So, bring up to the podium here my fellow senator, a good friend of the coal community, former governor of Virginia, Mark Warner.
Thank you, Jim. Good morning, everybody. Let me hear a special shout out to everybody here from Southwest Virginia. Well, you sit at home and you look at what's going on sometimes across the street, and you think that everybody here is only about fighting. But this morning you have seen Democrats and Republicans come up here, regardless of party. Today, we are Americans first before we are Democrats. And we have got to get our energy future right. We have got to get our energy future right, and as my good friend Jim Webb said, a big piece of that energy future will include coal. So we got to not be afraid of innovation. We got to not be afraid of recognizing that we're going to have a full mix in our energy portfolio. We should not be afraid of any energy solution.
Right.
But we ought to have this driven by the market,
Right.
not by government policy, not government policies right now that candidly still have this country 9 years after 9/11 and 30 years after Richard Nixon said it's time to get off the addiction of foreign oil. It makes no sense to spend $600 billion of your money and mine
Overseas.
to the very people who are at least indirectly attacking our troops for service. With domestic energy, coal's going to be a big piece of that going forward. So do keep the faith. But it will be coal, it will be gas, maybe some domestic offshore oil. We also shouldn't be afraid of nuclear. We also shouldn't be afraid of solar and wind and all of the portfolio approach. We also shouldn't be afraid, as Jim Webb said, to make sure there are ways we can do and mine coal cleaner and burn it. We shouldn't be afraid of carbon capture and sequestration. That is part of coal's future as well. But we need to make sure that the folks who are making the rules actually understand what it means to work in a mine. No one should be making rules that haven't been underground. We have to understand what the men and women who mine the coal that drives our energy future do every day.
Yeah.
I made a little bit of money, for those of you in the Southwest Virginia area, in the cell phone business. Means I'm the only politician around that says, I was the co-founder of Nextel, so I'm the only politician, Virginians have heard this, said even when I'm talking, keep your cell phones on. It doesn't bother me at all. And I think there will be, as telecom was in the 80s and the 90s, and the internet was in the 90s, the next 25 years, there will be more jobs and more wealth created in the energy sector than any other sector in the world. And right now, China is eating our lunch. So if we're going to make sure that those jobs and that wealth is created here in the United States of America, we got to have this portfolio approach to energy, and that means coal continues to be a major part. Keep the faith, keep on the fight. Let me now present to you a great state representative, our friend from the great Commonwealth of Kentucky, the other Commonwealth, Big Steel. Thank you all. I'm Big Steel. I've worked for